welcome to the Voices of the Nation podcast. In this series, we invite prominent individuals from diverse sectors of the society to share with us their journeys and explore how their contributions align with the spirit of Onward as One, which is also the theme for National Day Parade 2023. In this episode, we are going to unpack the topic of community, and today it brings me great pleasure to invite our Minister of State for Ministry of Home Affairs and Ministry of National Development, Grassroots Advisor for Nee Soon Central Grassroots Organisations. Let's welcome Professor Mohammed Faishal Ibrahim.
Hey.
Hello, Professor. Welcome.
Hi, Belle. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Hi, Professor. So it's really an honor to have you here with us today to share more about yourself and as well as connect with our listeners. So before we begin, maybe share a little bit more about what you do and how long you've actually served the Nee Soon community.
I've been an MP in Nee Soon for the last 12 years. But as an MP, I've been an MP for the last 17 years.
Wow.
Prior to going to Yishun, I was at the Marine Parade GRC. So I was there for 5 years. And then in 2011, I was moved to Yishun to stand for the general election.
I see. So what kind of activities do you have in Nee Soon Central community? How do you actually engage citizens in the community and help the neighborhoods to bond together?
Essentially, in Nee Soon, many of the residents came from kampong, the villages nearby in Sembawang, in Old Nee Soon, as well as Upper Thomson area and many other parts of the northern part of Singapore. So they know each other as an existing landscape. They have that values of living together, working together to develop the community. So what I do is that I emphasize a lot of this kampong spirit.
Okay, so what kind of activities do we have in Nee Soon Central?
Essentially, if you look at it from that local level, we will have block-specific or even precinct-specific events like barbecue. Even sometimes we have durian parties.
Oh,
right?
wow.
And also, we cater to the different groups of people, for example, for the young to the old. So for the young, usually I celebrate birthdays with
nice.
some of the kids, young kids. So I remember I started this when I was there in 2011, and 12 years later, many of them will be in the teenage years.
Yeah, or some maybe even have babies already growing up.
So nice to meet them, and they still remember what I said or the memories that we have. And we also conduct activities for the middle-aged as well as the seniors, who I think very important for us to try to reach out to as many people as possible so that we can continue to live as a community in Nee Soon Central in particular. And at the same time, you also understand that Nee Soon is also expanding. You have more and more young families coming. So how we can blend the family, new and younger families with the older generation.
That's very true. Specifically, how do you actually strengthen the bonds between residents in the Malay community specifically?
In Nee Soon, we have a fair bit of Malay residents, in fact higher than the national average. Like the other minority communities, we also want to make sure that they are part of the whole ecosystem and part of this residents living in Nee Soon. So we have programs that cater to the masses, where all the different communities come together. However, we also have programs that reach out specifically to them. So I do these two levels of program, and I think what is key is that we want to make sure we also know their needs. We also reach out to them. At the same time, get them to also be on board the journey as a nation, as one.
Together, right?
So,
as one.
Yes. At times, I will have sessions like teh tarik session with them.
Wow.
So we will invite them individually, come over, and we have a chit chat, we have makan together.
Nice.
I share policy matters with them, what may concern them, so that we are able to relate. And being involved in the development of the Malay community in Singapore, I'm very fortunate to know many of the things that happen, some of the policies, some of the efforts that we make. So I think they find it meaningful to be able to get first-hand information from
Definitely.
me. Yeah. So these are things that I do. But beyond that, we also want them to be part of the, like what you shared, as one nation.
Yes.
Right? So when we have events, we also get them to participate.
Together.
And I'm happy that they come, you know. Recently we had a nice cycling event. We have people from all races, all ages coming together to participate in this. One is to look to promote sustainability,
Yes.
green living, and at the same time keep ourselves healthy. And while we do that, we bonded together.
Very meaningful events held like this. It's very, very nice to hear. I only hope that, you know, as a whole of Singapore, we can actually have more of this kind of activities as well. Okay, Prof. So can you also share with us about your experience as a member and representative of the Muslim community? Like, I think education and housing have been like sort of like a concern for people consecutively. So, what are your experience and what do you do your efforts in getting everyone to you know talk to them and tell them you know what's going on actually and what do we actually have to offer?
Yeah. So essentially, as a MP, I'm an MP for every Singaporean, regardless of race, language, or religion. However, we also have among ourselves, the Malay MPs, we work together to look at the needs and how we can help as a team to uplift the Malay community. So I've been very fortunate since I joined the government. I've been involved in about 6 ministries. I've been very fortunate and quite a number of these ministries where I think there are areas of work that are relevant to the Malay community. Currently, I'm with Ministry of Home Affairs and National Development, where I work with prison, CMB, how to help the vulnerable ones, those who are ex-offenders and their families, and at the same time, helping those relating to their housing needs. So it's been very meaningful, and with this involvement, I get to work very closely with the community and have some value add in this whole process. So it's been an inspiring journey for me because looking at them, how they work hard together, and we are seeing how we are able to play a part in helping them from cradle to grave.
Wow.
From being a child, even
It's a lifelong effort.
lifelong effort before a couple get married, how we can strengthen families and also strengthen marriage and families, and all the way to being senior. So we do this via the M-Cube network.
The M-Cube network.
M-Cube network is an effort in the Malay community where we galvanize the different agencies as well as the community to come together, work towards national agenda, national policies that want to help people and get the Malay community to benefit from such policies. What I'm involved in today, beside my ministry work, is that I chair a work group to strengthen marriages. Yeah. So basically, we get the solemnizers and also the community to come together work with the agencies to help couples to have a good start in their marriage. And that is one. Because marriage is important.
Of course,
right?
definitely.
And then when you
it's
have
not easy.
good marriage, strong marriage, you will have strong families.
That's right.
And that will contribute towards the national agenda of having strong families, strong society. And that is one aspect that I'm very involved in. And secondly, like what I shared earlier, I also work with the ex-offenders to see how they can have beyond second chances. And I can tell you this is something that really gave me a wow, because whenever I speak to them, I work together with them, I always feel that I'm learning more from them than what I can help them, because they are it's an amazing group of people wanting to change, wanting to make life better for others, and it has been an amazing journey. And I'm very confident that with all these things that we are doing, we are able to continue to develop this extraordinary part about Singapore. If you look at Singapore is very small, right? Not much of the natural resources,
That's right.
but we are extraordinary. Because of what? Because of the people, right? And we are multiracial, but yet able to live one another, and at the same time, MPs like me and community leaders like many others, they are still able to help the own community and develop into that one nation of ours,
That's right.
moving together
We should
as
bring back the kampong spirit.
kampong spirit and develop Singapore as something special.
That's very, very interesting. Come to talk about food, right? Since we have been in Nee Soon, Yishun for some time already, is there? Can you share some of your favorite food in Yishun,
You
so that
know-
we can chill our friends and eat together?
Yeah, you know, I like food. I'm very adventurous and I eat all types of food. I'm very open
To trying new
trying
stuff
new
as well.
types. So what I do in Yishun, I will go to different coffee shops.
Wow, just really
And
exploring.
I will try, and then some good ones I will share on my social media.
Oh,
I must
remember
say,
to follow.
I must have many choices in Yishun that I like. So one of the best would be the mee soto.
Oh.
Mee soto at Block 605, Street 61 in Yishun. Very nice. It's at one of these stall, Mak Itam food stall.
Oh,
Always go
wow.
there. We
Special mention.
Yes, and I just went over the last weekend to celebrate Father's Day there with the
that's
community.
nice.
But before I left, I had my power mee soto.
Oh, nice. So you guys know where to find Professor next time. Any other food that you can
Yeah,
recommend us?
we have nice nasi lemak, also at Block 645. Very popular, cheap and good, and we have many prata stalls that really serve very nice curry.
That's
And if you speak to Yishun residents, they will say they love the number of coffee shops that are in Nee Soon. Even in my area alone, Nee Soon Central, I have about 17 coffee shops.
Well, that's a lot.
A lot, yeah. 17 coffee
Have you
shops.
finished visiting?
I visit them regularly. So I do morning and late night coffee shop visits. So I meet different groups of people and I make many friends. We eat, we chit chat, and then we help one another. In a
Okay.
sense, yeah.
And you know, talking about Chinese, Malay, Indian, and different ethnics in Singapore, you know, how do we actually ensure equal opportunities for the community?
I think that is the hallmark of Singapore. Being multiracial, they want to make sure that each and every one of us can achieve what we want to.
Definitely.
And in fact, Singapore is a place where there are multiple possibilities, right? All the different possibilities for you and I and the rest of Singaporeans.
Yes.
It is up to us to take up the opportunities and get on this journey together. And the journey continues. I've seen how many Singaporeans can move up the ladder from one generation to another, right, when we visit residents and so forth. However, the landscape gets more and more challenging at times because the world is changing. One thing that touched me is that our government continues to think of whether our meritocracy works, right, and how if there are opportunities for us to make it better so that many more can be on board this journey to improve themselves, to take up the opportunities available for them, and for them to grow as individuals as well as one nation. So I think this is something that I hope Singaporeans also realize that the world is complex. Nevertheless, you have a government that always
back up.
thinks
Yes.
within these complexities and challenging landscape, how we can continue to benefit every Singaporean, regardless of who they are, race, language, or religion, no matter how difficult it is.
Prof, it really looks like you're very, very inspired. Does that come from your personal background?
I am very fortunate. I mean, just like some Singaporean, my parents had a tough life when they were building their family, and they live a life that my siblings and I saw and pick up values from them. They not only were poor, but they were gracious, they were loving, and they want to make lives better for others, despite the challenging background or lives they had. And I just lost my dad a few months ago, but after losing my mom about 9 years ago, my dad a few months ago, we all sibling last few months we were reflecting about their lives. We realized that my parents live an amazing life.
Yes.
Amazing, yet simple life.
Yes,
and,
exactly.
This is something that I learned, and with all these things that I saw, now that I'm involved, I've been involved as an MP for the last 17 years. Prior to that, I was also a community leader. I saw how lives of people improve. Simple things that you do makes
Makes a
life
difference, actually.
better for others. And I learned to appreciate whatever I have in life. And this is something that I do, and I also share this with my children, my family.
Yes.
And we live a simple life, but yet we are grateful for what we have.
So speaking of celebrations, I'm really so happy that we are all stepping up to attend events and festivals, especially I have friends who celebrate Hari Raya as well. I have families who celebrate Hari Raya as well, and we kind of like cross-celebrate each other's festivals. And recently, my friend actually went to the Geylang Serai, and
Yes.
I've always wanted to go, but I didn't have the chance to go there.
You miss it.
Yes, and you know how Geylang Serai actually earned its reputation as the Malay Emporium, as well as when we think about the Malay community, we think about Kampong Glam as well.
Yes.
Right, so could you share with us a little bit more about the efforts to add the vibrancy to these areas, specifically more recently Geylang Serai, and of course not forgetting our Kampong Glam.
So we are very fortunate, like what I shared earlier, even though we are a secular nation, but our multiracial policy help us to make sure that there are areas that are associated to the different communities continue to thrive. Right? For example, Geylang. Right? We know Geylang Serai, where is like a hub for the Malay community. And also Kampong Glam. Even though Kampong Glam is diverse, but there are certain nodal points where the Malay community and particularly the Muslim community, they are very actively involved. So I'm quite fortunate in the sense that I work together with the community stakeholders there, Geylang Serai, particularly Wisma Geylang Serai, and we actively have programs that bring out the Malay culture, language, and also the literature. We are developing Malay, the Geylang Serai as a precinct, right? Place making headed by one of my colleagues as well. So like this year, because of after COVID, the bazaar there, we had a wonderful number of turnout. I mean, turnout was more than 5 million. Of course, some people say hard to believe, but it's real, right? Because you really saw many people coming.
I've seen videos actually.
Yes. And not only Malays, you see multiracial.
Yes.
And all the different races, different ages coming, and it's just amazing. Similarly for Kampong Glam, you realize that Kampong Glam is unique in terms of the atmosphere. We continue to work together with the stakeholders to give that kind of atmosphere and experience, and at the same time bring out the uniqueness of Kampong Glam and an identity not only at the local level. I think Kampong Glam has become an international icon. When you ask the tourists what they know about Singapore, one of the areas they know is Kampong Glam. So areas like this, including Little India, Chinatown, where all these make Singapore a very unique blend of a nation that comes together.
Flavor, we call it.
The flavor, that is unique and very progressive.
Definitely. It's so nice that you're not working alone on this.
Yes.
And how has the Malay community evolved in Singapore?
If you look back, the Malay community has progressed significantly over the last couple of decades. We now have the M-Cube platform where agencies like MUIS, Mendaki, and Mesra, which is
Can you explain a little bit more about this? Because I've only heard like Mendaki before. What are the other?
So we have a religious body, MUIS, the Islamic Religious Council of Singapore that look after the religious needs of the Muslim. And we also have an organization called MESRA, which is a Malay activity executive community arm of the People Association. So what we do is we blend them together, come together to work together with the community partners and the Malay community to see how we can develop programs that will help to enhance the Malay community. We want to see how we can develop a community of success where it hinges upon 3 elements. One is citizenry, competency, and character. Right? So for this year, we are focusing on citizenry, where we want the Malay community to contribute beyond the community. That means contribute as one again, part of the nation. So just recently, we had the COVID-related kind of awards that was given out. Right? So many of the members of the Malay community who was they were in the committee called SG Teguh Bersatu. That means Singapore
I only
as
can
one.
hear, satu.
As one. No? We are strong as one. So this committee, the members came from various groups of organization during COVID to not only fight COVID,
To do voluntary work as well,
to
right?
help
To help
the
people.
national effort at the national level in fighting COVID. So when they received the award recently, I, as one of the member of parliament, and looking at how these people and the Malay community have worked together, I feel very proud that they are not only contributing to the Malay community, they play beyond the Malay community. And it shows that we want to continue this journey so that together as one, we can develop Singapore.
Yeah, that's right. It's really nice to hear that we have actually so many more unsung heroes, doing their part to make a difference in a community or even beyond their community.
Yes.
Wow. What are some of your future objectives and goals for the community?
To me, we must continue the journey. We on a very, I would say, good platform and a good state where we have a lot more opportunities to help the community to progress. One part which I think very important is that relates to what I do is to build strong marriages and families. Right? Have a good start, and we provide a good start to every child. Right? And some of these are very consistent with the national policies, and within the community we have work groups that bring people together to help to develop this. And also one aspect that I think is important is about home. Right? Whether you are poor or rich,
Yes, the
I think
poverty
is something that we want to make sure that every Singaporean would have a
taken
home.
care of.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whether you need to rent a flat, we will have rental flats for you. But we also want you to own a home. So we will continue to make home ownership affordable, accessible to Singaporeans. And this is something that we are working very hard. Yeah, I want the Malay community also to be part of this journey, whereby even they start with renting a home, they will have a chance to own a home one day.
Yes.
Because owning a home, it makes a lot of difference. The pride of ownership, the stake you have in the country, all these are very important that only people who own home will feel it.
Yes.
Right? So that is one. Then something that I'm very passionate about is how we can help to reduce the issue on offending, drug matters. This is something that I am very passionate. I'm working very hard at MHA. And then even those who have offended, we want to give them beyond second chances to help them so that we can reduce the recidivism rate and they can be with their families and the longest they can. So I think that is important. And beyond all this, I think what is key is that education. Right? We want to make sure that we help the Malay community be able to have a meaningful and good educational journey and pursuit.
It's definitely a relief to know that people who are struggling, whether or not it's on an educational level or owning a home, that they are not alone fighting this journey alone. I think it's very nice to know that we actually have people working towards all these personal goals with us. Okay, Prof. So the theme for the National Day Parade 2023 is actually onward as one. Do you have a message that you want to share to the audience, or what are your hopes for Singapore this year?
To me, journeying through as a Singaporean, from a young child to now, to me has been an inspiring journey. And now that I've been involved in the community, society, as a community leader before I became an MP, and after 17 years being an MP, and also being part of the government, I am very inspired by Singaporeans, how our forefathers have built this nation, and with one very simple message about how we can build this nation together.
Yes.
And what we have been building. And this journey must continue, and the theme is very appropriate, onward as one, and I think that is something can relate to many of us, because if you look back, Singapore, to develop a city-state like Singapore, a nation like Singapore, is not easy.
Definitely.
We are small, we don't have natural resources, but yet we are able to develop as what it is. And many of us who have been involved at the international platform would know that people always wonder how we can make this nation of yours so small, no
And
natural
really
resources,
bloom.
and to bloom.
Yes.
And despite the challenges that you have within your region and within your own context, what has been instrumental is that the people, our leaders, and I think what is key is that we must continue this journey. So Singapore may not be perfect, but we are not too bad.
And we are always moving forward together to
Yes.
actually should achieve, working towards the better together, and not be actually complacent, thinking that like, oh, someone else is going to do the job. Actually, that's I think a strong message in this episode, especially to move onwards together. So, what are your hopes for Singapore this year?
My hope is that we can continue this journey as one and provide every possibility, multiple possibilities for each and every one of us, regardless of who we are, and to be able to achieve our best in whatever capacity we do. And most importantly, I hope we will also enjoy what we do, because
very important, actually.
nation building is a process. So we must connect together as one and enjoy our very own journey, finally connecting to this whole journey of building Singapore together.
And as the theme for the National Day Parade 2023 says,
Onward as one.
Remember to catch the NDP 2023 on the various channels possible. Thank you so much for being with
Thank
us this
you.
afternoon. This is Belle.
I'm Faishal.